Empaths are very sensitive to other people's energy and just anything around them, or just so many different things can get to us as empaths and really make us feel a deep emotion. And this can actually be used to our advantage because now we can feel other people's emotions to help them, to use our intuition, which is heightened as empaths because we are able to feel things more. We have a stronger sense of intuition. So don't let this become a label where you're like, oh, I'm an empath, I'm too sensitive to do something, I can't go there because I'm an empath. And I'm going to give you a few tips that I've used as someone who would say, yes, I am a more sensitive person. You know, what's helped me kind of get through some of that and still get through it now. So the first thing you need to do is really embrace your sensitivity, like I was kind of saying before. Embrace the fact that you're sensitive, because you can actually use this to your advantage to know things. You know, they talk about psychic abilities, and a lot of us have this view of it as like we have to just see something, which many people can. I have visualized things that have happened in my life, but the most common, and I think probably the best way to use your intuition and to know that you have psychic powers is just knowing that you need to do something. When something feels right or feels wrong, you know it as an empath because you have that sensitivity to everything around you, which allows you to know like when something is not right for you and when something is right for you. Yeah, it might not feel good all the time when you're in a tough situation and you're like extra sensitive about something for no reason really. It doesn't feel great, but notice that feeling, just like with anything else on this spiritual practice or this spiritual journey. Notice that feeling and say, wow, I don't necessarily like this feeling, but it's okay. I'm going to accept it and I'm going to embrace it. And I'm going to say, you know, I am sensitive, but that allows me to connect with people on a deeper level, and it actually helps me know what I really love to do because I can feel when I'm out of alignment and I can feel when I'm in alignment. So it's an advantage to actually be an empath and be sensitive. And most people who have had what we call a spiritual awakening are empaths now. You know, maybe you weren't as sensitive, but now that you've become aware of like energy and vibration and like how your energy is kind of matching up with other people's, it just like you can kind of start to feel way more sensitive. Another thing that is really helpful is to notice that maybe it's not always these other people. We like to blame everyone else, like, oh, it just must be their energy that's making me feel bad, you know, it must be them. When a lot of the time, yes, it can be you feeling their energy. I'm not saying that's not possible, but many times, since you know that the universe is like a mirror, it's a reflection of you. So many times the things that you see in someone else that bother you are a reflection of your own insecurity or something that you don't like about yourself, and you're seeing that in that person. Maybe you're not consciously aware that you see this in yourself, but it's actually subconsciously making you think about something that you don't like about yourself that is giving you that reaction. And that's a good thing about being an empath too. When you really learn to embrace it, you can go into a situation where things don't necessarily feel great, but you're learning more about what you need to work on because you're seeing what triggers you in a way. I'm not saying it in the typical sense of like, oh, I'm triggered, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it triggers some emotion within you. And then you can realize, oh, maybe that's why I felt this way in that situation, because I have this underlying negative belief about myself in this aspect of my life. And maybe that person has, like maybe this person gets mad about something and that annoys you, but then you think like, yeah, I do the same exact thing. Or you really get to know someone so well that you're around them all the time, and it's just like every little thing they do that annoys you, you can actually see that it's just maybe an older version of you, or just things that you used to do kind of rubbed off on them, and then you tried to change, and now you see a reflection of you. This has happened to me at least, so it's like, I don't know, you need to realize that you can only really let it affect you if you are unconscious of the fact that you're just in this little world. You're in this little simulation type thing where we are all part of one source, but we are all different aspects of that source. And so essentially the people that you're mad at are another aspect of you, and this works the other way. So the things that you feel from them that give you that great feeling, and the things that you love about someone else, even watching my videos, maybe you get inspired by something, or you think that you like something about what I said, but maybe it's or me in general, but it's really just I'm a reflection of you. So you're seeing in me things that you love about yourself, essentially, or you're seeing in other people that you meet things that you love about yourself and hate about yourself. And that's where it gets kind of crazy with the whole law of attraction, everything like that. Like, how are we attracting negativity? But the thing about empaths is we tend to attract what we would say are narcissists, but I don't like to cast that label where it's like, oh, you're just a narcissist. Like, I think it's more of, some people are drawn to the fact that you are sensitive, like maybe subconscious, like they aren't necessarily conscious of it, but they're like almost feeding off of your energy, and like in a way it like kind of fuels them like being around you for a while, and like you're kind of unaware of this, especially if you're not awakened like I was. I thought everybody around me must just be must just be negative and out to get me. Like, it seemed like I had attracted so many narcissistic people around me, but maybe it was just my own insecurity, being projected. And I think that was a lot of what it was, and I have apologized to several people that were in my life at that time. I mean, it wasn't even that long ago, but I just felt bad about kind of the way that I acted. Many things that I got mad about were actually just things that I needed to work on. But again, everything is happening for a reason, so it's a good thing that I had that experience of, experiencing the darkness, because I would have never experienced the light that I'm experiencing now, understanding more about myself. And that's another thing. When you first awaken, you become so sensitive, because it's like you're going from experiencing all of this, what you believe to just be awful circumstances, or just like hate being thrown your way in your eyes, or like you're just like, why is everyone making fun of me for this, or just like being mad at me about this, or like just so many things you think are happening to you, and you don't realize that you're actually manifesting more of them into your life by keeping that same negative outlook, which is what I was doing. And it got me to the point where I was just kind of in a complete hole where I didn't want to do anything. And probably one of the worst times of this was when I was actually at a university, and I would just sit in my room. Like, I would occasionally go out and party with people, but like, it was almost like I was just escaping my reality every day, because I didn't know where I was going with my life. And it was like, I'm just kind of doing all of this for no reason. And it wasn't until I reached that lowest point where even, the people that I spent the most time with, just basically are out of my life. It wasn't until then that I could really see the reason that I was so messed up was because I was not aware. I wasn't conscious of my own being. I didn't know that I was this soul having a human experience. I didn't know that my thoughts were not something that I should be so attached to and believe that that's only me. And empaths struggle with this because we feel other people's energy so heavily that it's like you almost want to help so bad, or it just like tears you apart when something small happens that is out of your control. So I want to let you know to try and focus on the things that you can control and enjoy the present moment the best that you can, because there's no need to worry about the future and worry about the past if you can't control that. Worry about the future in the way that I'm going to be what I want to be now in this present moment. I'm going to take the steps. I'm going to take action towards my goals in this present moment to be the best version of myself. But I'm not going to say, well, I'm not good enough now. I wish I was smart enough to do that. I wish I was able to speak well enough to finally follow my passion. I wish that I looked good enough to get that job, or to finally put myself out there on social media. I'm too insecure about it. Like, I don't look good enough. There's so many things that we tell ourselves. Again, I want to let everyone know that we are oftentimes our biggest critic. We are the person that's always looking at the small aspects of what we put out, or just the person that we are. We're normally always so worried about tiny things that most people wouldn't judge us for, and they don't really care. In fact, they might actually respect you because you are just putting yourself out there, and you're not worried about those small things that most people are always worried about. And that also comes back to the conditioning of society, to where we've all been kind of programmed to believe that we have to act this certain way and fit in. And if you're an empath, you probably lived your whole life thinking you've got to fit into some sort of box, but you never felt like you fit in that box. And you wanted so badly to break out of the box, but you felt like you were too nervous or too scared to do it. And maybe now you're struggling to go back into the world. You're struggling to finally take that step and do something about your situation, rather than sit there and dwell on it and think, oh, I'm so sensitive, what can I do? Because I know what it's like to just go out in public, feel like you're almost in another world. You don't want to talk to anyone. You don't want to go to events that you used to want to go to. Maybe you don't want to be around certain family members. Like, I'm not saying that as a shot at my family or anything. Like, I'm great around my family now, mostly. Like, it's just like certain events where people ask you, like, how are you doing? Like, what are you gonna do with your life? Or like, what, the typical things that people ask you, and maybe you don't have a real answer. You're just kind of feel like you're wondering, but that's okay. You can embrace this time where you're becoming kind of open to so much. Your heart has fully opened now. You're fully aware of things that are happening. This is a good thing. That's the main thing I want to say, is that this is a good thing. It's so awesome to be an empath. It's so great to be able to know hey, I don't want to do this job. I want to follow my dream because this feels right. Or I don't want to make this turn right here because it feels like there might be something around that corner that could hit me, or just the smallest little things. You have an internal knowing. You have that feeling. Crystals are also a great way to deflect negative energy. They've helped me a lot for sure. My favorite crystal is moldavite, which will bring up a lot of emotions and a lot of things that you need to work on, but it will transform you for the better. So that's a whole nother crystal. I've got a bunch of videos on that I'll be making even more on, but I've got a few right now. And I think some good ones like black tourmaline, maybe obsidian, like the dark grounding crystals are good for negative energy. There's a lot of crystals you can use, really. Just any crystal will change your energy in a way. Being sensitive like this is actually also helpful for manifestation. This is a great way to manifest, because the most powerful way to manifest something is to feel that feeling that you would get from that manifestation. How would you feel if you had it? That's how you align to the vibrational frequency of that thing, is through that emotion. And everyone says, emotion is energy in motion. That's what we're saying. The emotion is going to allow you to attach yourself to that energy. This is how it works. So being sensitive, you have an advantage, because you can take yourself to that place of feeling a good feeling. It doesn't always have to be feeling bad feelings. You can be very sensitive to great heartwarming emotions, and you want to take those, put that into your manifestations, and visualize with that feeling, and that's how you attract what you want into your life and become what you want, by holding on to that feeling as much as you can, staying in that vibrational state as much as you can. So we all have to remember to protect our energy the best we can, but at least know that all of this is just a reflection of you in some way. You might not agree with it, but it is other aspects of you, and you'll start to attract better things into your life the higher you raise your vibration. But you're always going to have some circumstances, some sensitivity to some things. But appreciate this time. This is the early stage. This is where you're learning a little bit about this. It's always going to be part of you, but these are the best parts of the movie, where you're enjoying the beginning. You're going to look back on these times one day and think, wow, I've really improved a lot with my ability to not worry about that situation, because I used to just get super mad if someone would bring that up, or I'd start crying if someone made fun of me, or I'd freak out in some way. But now I'm calm, and I know who I am. I know the power of this world. I know the power within, and just seeing the beauty in everything else can really help you kind of deal with some of the negativity, because we do see a lot of things coming out with the Great Awakening going on as well. So I can kind of understand how that is as well. When I first awakened, looking into so many dark subjects, that made me even more sensitive, and then I'm kind of going around worrying. We have a tendency to worry even more as empaths, so that's why it's very important to be in the present moment. Understand that you're not your mind, you're not just your thoughts. You don't have to identify with your ego and the things that people have told you you were, or people tell you that you have to be. You can be whatever you want to be. So embrace this sensitivity, and embrace the ability to be empathetic towards someone else. It's really a powerful tool that you can actually use to your advantage. So remember that about it. Remember that above all else about being an empath. Don't use it as something to bring you down. Peace out, guys.